You and a group of friends went hiking in the forest. You were all excited to explore the wilderness and spend some time in nature. Among you guys, your friend Dale elected himself as the leader of the hike. But as your hike progressed, you started hearing odd noises coming from the deep in the forest. At first you thought you heard knocking and thought, how on earth could that be an animal? But as you got closer, the noises became louder and more distinct. The noises evolved into the combination of knocking and deep, guttural howling. And that's when Dale proclaimed that it sounded like Bigfoot, the legendary creature of the woods. The group was both fascinated yet scared by the possibility of encountering a Bigfoot. Dale, however, was determined to find it. He led the group deeper into the forest, following the sounds. As you got closer, the noises grew louder and more intense. The sun was setting, and it became increasingly harder to see through the dense woods. With Dale's enthusiasm to find the Bigfoot... Is that Dale, or...?
I was just a Bigfoot.
Oh, I thought you were Dale being excited. I was like, dang, Dale. You sound just like Bigfoot, bro. He slowly pulled away from the group. Suddenly, Dale was completely gone. You guys panic and call out to him, but he doesn't respond. Dale was gone. You were left with nothing but the memories of Dale. Like that one time he tried selling a minivan to Tommy's mom with a rolled back odometer. Some believe he had been abducted by Bigfoot. From that day on, the group never hiked in the woods again. They were too afraid of encountering the unknown and dangers that lurked in the wilderness. On this episode of Cauldron Convos, we're going to be talking about Bigfoot, otherwise known as Sasquatch.
What up, bitches? Who's your daddy?
My name is Kayla, this is Xenu or Bigfoot, either way, and we are Cauldron Convos, baby!
There's the smoke.
If you are new here, I just wanted to ask you guys to please consider subscribing to this channel because we post weekly on the paranormal, true crime, and crazy conspiracy content. Also, I post reaction videos too, so if you want all that, make sure to hit the subscribe button. We would greatly appreciate it.
Subscribe.
Hit that. Hit it. Hit it with it. Hit it with an E. Let's get into what is Bigfoot exactly. What is the physical description of a Bigfoot besides this mask that we have from Amazon? So you probably generally know what Bigfoot looks like because Bigfoot is commonly found in pop culture, on clothing, Band-Aids even. Bigfoot is the most popular cryptid. Bigfoot, also commonly referred to as Sasquatch, is an ape-like cryptid alleged by cryptozoologists and enthusiasts to inhabit the forests of North America. Bigfoot is often described as a large, muscular, bipedal, is that how you say bipedal?
Yeah. Bipedal.
Bisexual ape like...
Bisexual.
Just kidding. I wanted to see if you're going to catch that or not. Bipedal ape-like creature covered in black or dark brown or reddish hair or fur. Actually hair, because it's a type of human.
No, technically it would be fur.
Oh, technically. Okay.
We'll
get into
later.
the science in a little bit. The science. Now, the estimated height of Bigfoot is around 6 to 9 feet tall. You know, we don't want to discriminate against the tiny Bigfoot, though. Actually, would they be called something else? Littlefoot.
Littlefoot.
Littlefoot. Land Before Time. Shout out. Now, there are common descriptions of Bigfoot such as a human-like face, broad shoulders, no visible neck, and long arms. And some of the nighttime sightings state that the Bigfoot has glowing yellow eyes.
Ooh,
or red.
Like
depending.
a pussycat.
Michael Rugg, the owner of the Bigfoot Discovery Museum, claims to have even smelled Bigfoot, specifically stating, imagine a skunk that had rolled around in dead animals and had hung out around garbage pits. Around the garbage pits or having stinky pits? Or both. Pits. Is that why pits are called pits? Because they stink?
Well, it's a pit of your arm.
But like, don't all pits stink?
No.
What's a good smelling pit? Bed Bath & Body Works landfill. So now we know what this creature looks like allegedly, although it varies sometimes. We can get into when did this sensation begin. So let's go back to the very beginning of Bigfoot, when Bigfoot was just a little baby. Actually, no, whatever. When Bigfoot was a little foot. Indigenous cultures have tales of mysterious hair-covered creatures that live in forests. The tales differ slightly in specific details, such as the location of the tribe and just general appearance.
And they're not talking about Cousin Tony down the street.
Yeah. not in the Bronx. For example, some note that petroglyphs created by a tribe of Yakuts at a site painted rock on the Tool River Indian Reservation in Central California depict a group of Bigfoot called the Family. Cute. Love that for them. Little foot, Bigfoot, another little foot. Daddy Bigfoot left. He abandoned them. Sorry, that says something about me, I think, that I just immediately thought of that.
I have nothing to say.
The local tribes people call the largest of the glyphs Hairy Man, and they are estimated to be between 500 and 1,000 years old. So this is old. So that's kind of crazy that Bigfoot started back then, right?
Well, it's something telling that there are people, right, that are pretty old that we're all seeing this from all over the country and as well as in other continents.
That is. I feel like this is the strongest evidence, honestly.
This is probably the strongest evidence. We will get into this later.
Yeah. In addition to that, 16th century Spanish explorers and Mexican settlers in California told tales of the Los Vigilantes, oscuros, or dark watchers, large creatures that would stalk their camps at nighttime. In Mississippi, a French Jesuit, shout out Jesuit, priest was living with the Natchez in 1721, and he reported stories of hairy creatures in the forest known to scream loudly and steal their livestock. Whoa. So here we go again. Another separate account. This person's not even an indigenous person. It's not even a cultural story thing. This guy was just there. This French Jesuit priest. And he was like, no, I heard it, bro.
He saw it.
He saw
Steal
it.
their livestock.
Now, each language had its name for this creature, but many of them mean something along the lines of wild man, hairy man, wild hairy man, big hairy man.
Describe me more, darling.
That's all of my mother's side of the Armenian family. But there were other names that actually referred to it as actions that it would take, such as eating clams or shaking trees. Eating clams, that's me. Call me Bigfoot, because I'm going to eat your clam. Chief Michel of the Nlakapamuks at Lytton, British Columbia.
You pronounced that perfectly.
Nlakapamuks, sorry. At Lytton, British Columbia, told a story to Charles Hill Tout in 1898 of SASQUATCH, SASQ''ETS, a shape-shifting creature that protected the forest. The name Sasquatch is the anglicized versions of Saskets, roughly translating to hairy man in the Halkamelium language.
Curse you, okay. Anglo-Saxons.
Some regional versions tell stories of a more threatening version of Bigfoot called Huiquiye, which is a nocturnal race, and children were warned against saying the name so that the monsters would not come and carry them off to be killed.
It's like Voldemort, but the Krampus.
Uh-huh. The Iroquois tells an aggressive side of the story as well, about a hair-covered giant with rock-hard skin known as the Otneyar, or stone giant, more commonly referred to as the Genosqua.
I don't know why. I thought you were going to say a hair-covered giant with rock-hard nips.
Oh, or rock-hard abs. He's in the
rock
gym.
Hard cop.
In 1847, Paul Kane reported stories by the natives about skookums, a race of cannibalistic wild men living on the peak of Mount St. Helens in southern Washington state. So hypothesize maybe that's Bigfoot.
Interesting.
This is going forward to 1924, so before Bigfoot kind of got sensationalized in America. That same area in southern Washington state,
which happens to be the Bigfoot hotspot, the biggest
Mount St.
Bigfoot
Helens
hotspot.
There was an alleged incident where a violent encounter between a group of gold prospectors and a group of, quote, ape men.
Whoa.
These allegations were reported specifically on July 16, 1924, in the issue of the Oregonian. Oregonian? That's weird. And this has become a popular piece of Bigfoot lore, obviously, with the area now being referred to as Ape Canyon. Love that. And lastly, about the historical evidence of Bigfoot, the U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt, in his 1893 book, The Wilderness Hunter, writes of a story he was told by an elderly mountain man named Beaumont, in which a foul-smelling, bipedal creature ransacked his beaver trapping camp, stalked him, and later became hostile when it fatally broke his companion's neck in the wilderness near the Idaho-Montana border.
Holy cow.
In Theodore Roosevelt, he heard this story from his, elder mountain man.
Bowman.
But he genuinely believed him.
Teddy Rosie, he used to go hunting for Sasquatch.
Yeah, he was a big outdoorsy man. Or wait, he was probably little. He was a little big outdoorsy man.
He was a little Bigfoot man.
He was a little foot.
Let's confuse people more.
Oh wait, he was 5'10". Sorry, I retract that statement. You are Bigfoot,
average.
Teddy. How did Bigfoot end up on our Band-Aids, on our shirts like I'm wearing right now? Shout out.
In our pop culture, in our beef jerky commercials.
So when did the Bigfoot sensation begin in America? The William Rowe encounter was one of the most famous Bigfoot sightings, allegedly occurred on Mica Mountain in British Columbia in 1955, when a man called William Rowe claimed that he saw a partly human, partly animal creature while he was hiking. William Rowe actually sweared in an affidavit in 1957 that the creature was about 6 feet tall and covered in brown silver-tipped hair, with thick arms that reached down to its knees. He said it had broad feet and breasts. Whoa.
How you doing?
According to the book, Abominable Science, Origins of the Yeti, Nessie, and Other Famous Cryptids, Rowe's ape-like sighting marks a change from the earlier Sasquatch accounts in British Columbia, which repeatedly described Sasquatch as a giant-sized indigenous person. But he said this to the Alberta Sasquatch organization. However, this was just eyewitness evidence, so it wasn't actual evidence to prove that Bigfoot is or was real. So essentially, this was the birth of the modern-day Bigfoot. Although he did make Bigfoot a thing, the name Bigfoot didn't actually emerge until the next year. Giant footprints puzzle residents, a headline in the Humboldt Times announced. The small Northern California newspaper reported that a road construction crew had discovered human-like footprints that were a massive 16 inches long. Can we measure your foot for comparison?
It's like Shaquille O'Neal walking through the woods.
Ew. This is an embarrassing sock. Have you ever worn embarrassing socks and you like don't want to take your shoes off and you're at someone's house or like somewhere where you have to take your shoes off? Oh yeah, that's just me because I wear like soggy hospital socks most of the day. Okay, my foot's almost 8 inches, I guess. So double my foot from here to here. Now, this paper was actually the first to give the mysterious animal Bigfoot that made the prince its memorable moniker Bigfoot. And the creature has been stomping through the American imagination ever since. That was a quote from something. Stomping through American history ever since. The tracks were apparently planted near Bluff Creek in Northern California by a man named Ray Wallace. But his prank was not revealed until his death in 2002 when his children said it had all just been a joke.
So the whole sensation of Bigfoot,
yeah, the name
is
Bigfoot
based on
started.
fake news.
Mm-hmm. Well,
oh my
but
God.
hypothesis: what if the children were just like super embarrassed that their dad like invented Bigfoot?
No.
The most famous Bigfoot sighting until this day is the 1967 video now referred to as the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Patterson-Gimlin.
This film is a minute-long video that appears to show a female Bigfoot, later named Patty, walking through a clearing in Northern California. The scientific community has overwhelmingly dismissed the film, though. They point out that it's probably just a person wearing a costume. Jeffrey Meldrum, a professor of anatomy and anthropology at Idaho State University and author of Sasquatch Legend Meets Science, is one of the few scientists to publicly back the film and the existence of Bigfoot. Shout out Jeffrey Meldrum! Smoke for Jeffrey Meldrum!
Smoke for Patty.
All right, he's a professor of anatomy, bro.
You might be wondering why they think it's a woman, and it's because Patty's got the heavies, baby.
She got thicky thighs, right?
No, the heavies.
Boobies?
Boobies. Yeah, dude.
Whoa. Okay.
Patty's packing double D's,
Okay,
baby.
no, we're not going to joke about that. That's mean.
What? She is.
That's offensive to
No,
our Bigfoot
I'm
audience.
serious. She actually has big breasts. That's
Well,
like
okay,
how
but
they
you're
identify
like,
her.
the double D's. Don't objectify
The double
a
Ps,
female Bigfoot like that. Okay. Darren Niche, a paleozoologist and author of Hunting Monsters, Cryptozoology, and the Reality Behind the Myths, summarized plenty of reasons to question the film's authenticity.
Authenticity.
Weird because he summarized reasons to question the film's authenticity in a 2020 Twitter thread, but he was the author of Hunting Monsters. So why would you dedicate your whole life hunting cryptozoology and then be like,
Listen.
wrong?
Something I want you as the viewer to look for is look in Patty's thunder thighs. You will see muscles moving, and that is compelling. And even like in a suit like that in the 60s, like the costume that would require, holy cow. Have you seen any films from the 60s?
No.
They're crap.
Yeah, that's why I haven't seen it.
And I also want the viewer to please take note of Patty's gait, aka how she walks, her strides. It's very peculiar compared to how a man would walk.
Mm-hmm.
Like not a man, but a human.
Oh, I thought you meant like a man.
Well, no.
I thought she like walked dainty, like.
Imagine she's like in high
She's
heels.
like, oh, work, bitch, work.
They were filming,
Mm-hmm.
and he had his camera holstered, and all of a sudden he saw Sasquatch, Patty, and he freaking quick draw.
This guy that wrote that book that was like kind of questioning, he noted in a 2020 Twitter thread that Patterson, who shot the film, already turned Bigfoot into a money spinning operation before releasing it. I don't know if that means like he knew he was going to make money off of the film, or before he even recorded
He just sounds like a savvy businessman to me. You know?
Additionally, the Patterson-Gimlin film, this film was created in the same place that Wallace had staged his hoax. So he notes that might be another reason to question the authenticity of it. Because why would they go to the same place?
That's like an Uno reverse card. Why would you...
Yeah,
because... I
because...
guess it is like an Uno reverse card.
No, because they didn't know that was fake until 2002. So they went to the same area being like, oh, we're going to get him. Like, it's going to be similar to the other one. And then they were like, bam, but he was just joking the whole time. Or was he? Benjamin Radford, a research fellow with the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, specifically asks the question, how is it that the evidence has not gotten any better despite the exponential increase in the quantity and quality of cameras?
Oh,
maybe the Bigfoot population is going down because of global warming. Did you ever think of that, Benji? Huh?
Probably.
Just kidding. I don't know. It's just a hypothesis. So what does our government have to say about Bigfoot? Well, in 2019, the FBI actually released a 4-decade-old file on a Bigfoot inquiry. Since 1976, the FBI has just been holding on to this file, not releasing it until 2019. In 1976, director Peter Byrne of the Bigfoot Information Center and Exhibition in Dallas, Oregon, sent the FBI, quote, about 15 hairs attached to a tiny piece of skin. Byrne wrote that his organization couldn't identify what kind of animal it came from and was hoping that the FBI might analyze it for him. He also wanted to know if the FBI had analyzed suspected Bigfoot hair before, and if so, what the Bureau's conclusion was. Benjamin Radford, who we talked about before, said Byrne was one of the more prominent Bigfoot researchers. Jay Cochran Jr., assistant director of the FBI Scientific and Technical Services Division, wrote back to Byrne that he couldn't find any evidence of the FBI analyzing suspected Bigfoot hair, and that the FBI usually only examined physical evidence related to criminal investigations. Still, it sometimes made exceptions, quote, in the interest of research and scientific inquiry, and Cochran said he'd make such an exception for Byrne. So he was doing a solid right there, because he's like, we don't really do this, but like for the sake of science and because, making an exception for you, he did. And Cochran found that the hair didn't belong to Bigfoot. In early 1977, he sent the hair back to Byrne along with his scientific conclusion. Quote, the hairs are of deer family origin. 4 decades later, the Bureau declassified its Bigfoot file about this analysis. Radford pointed out that all it means is the FBI did a favor to a Bigfoot researcher. There's nothing wrong with that. But it shouldn't be mistaken for de facto government endorsement of the reality of Bigfoot. Even so, Bigfoot believers tend to spin it in the way that, well, the FBI had a file on Bigfoot. That has to mean that, why else would they test it? Which kind of true.
Yeah.
I kind of agree. Like, okay, yeah, like doing a favor for a Bigfoot researcher. No.
It's like the UFO thing. Majority of the public's like, oh, it's fake. Then the government recognizes it, and all of a sudden it's all over the news when this shit's been going on for a long time.
Yeah. And they wrote him back allegedly, but he said the first time he heard about it was in 2002, but that also might be because he was like, oh shit, that's embarrassing. I don't want to tell anyone that it was just deer hair the whole time. Some of the science, I guess, that, I'm just stating, the planet's ever-shrinking forests still actually regularly unpack surprises, such as the saola, an untamed cousin of the cow that was discovered by scientists in Vietnam in 1992. That's kind of crazy. In 1992, they discovered a cow they just never had before.
Scientists discovered a cow.
So who discovered that?
How many scientists are roaming through the jungles in Vietnam?
It's not a cow.
Well, that thing's small.
To the cow.
That thing's small.
But it's a new thing.
Yeah, but it's also in Vietnam through very harsh jungle, not the Pacific Northwest.
I'm just pointing out that there are creatures, species that are not discovered. So,
yeah, but
who knows?
not an intelligent ape.
There wasn't much scientific evidence to go with. So
I know, I tried
I'm
to.
giving but researchers have suggested that Bigfoot may be a surviving species of prehistoric ape or a human-like species that evolved separately from humans. However, there is no fossil evidence to support this hypothesis, and the genetic and morphological evidence that would be necessary to support the existence of such a creature has not yet been found.
Now, that's the problem. No matter how much evidence there is, the short answer is if there's evidence, why isn't it scientifically proved? And that's because there is no evidence.
Yeah, there would have to be DNA
And, like,
or
look,
a body or something.
DNA or a pile of shit with DNA. I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah, sure.
There's just no evidence. And I hate to say that as like a big Bigfoot believer.
But what
no
if there's
pun
only
intended.
like 30 Bigfoot left?
That-
How would we find their
It
shit?
that would not be enough for a sustainable population.
Oh, okay, well.
There's the whole population equation where there has to be a certain amount of an
How
animal.
many?
I forget, Google it. Just do population minimum. There has to be a certain amount of animals in order to maintain a healthy population.
50 out of 500 rule.
The 50
A
out of
population
500.
size of 50 was necessary to combat inbreeding, and a minimum of 500 individuals was needed to reduce genetic drift.
Yeah.
Now we're going to watch some Bigfoot footage and photos in addition to the one that
Buckle
we
up,
already
baby.
watched. This says captured by a First Nations Native American is Saskatchewan.
It's Canada.
It's kind of a pretty far video. You see it? It's just like a huge walking creature. Like, what could that be?
I just don't buy it, really.
All right, well, let's go into the next one then. Someone posted in r/Bigfoot, I wouldn't admit to proof if I had it. I was thinking this afternoon at work today that even if I had indisputable proof of the existence of Bigfoot, that the last thing I do with is go to the public. The amount of publicity that something like real proof would bring down seems unimaginable and something I want nothing at all to do with. The extension of that thought was that I can't help but wonder how many people out there have the same mentality. How many people might have really good visual evidence and just decide to keep it to themselves?
That's valid, but that kind of goes for everything.
Here is Coyote Peterson's Facebook post. It got 1,200 upvotes in r/Bigfoot. It says, breaking news, leaking pics here before they are taken down and before the government/officials try to seize our footage. Currently in a secure location awaiting primatologist review. Absolutely unreal. We thought it was a bear skull when we found it. I can 100% guarantee it is not.
Yeah, that's pretty compelling.
That's pretty compelling. Okay, Coyote Peterson.
I do like Coyote Peterson. He's the guy that gets bit by all the animals.
See?
Yeah.
I feel like that could be a bird.
So it's got the sagittal crest.
Wait, and someone said if it wasn't for the fact it was Coyote Peterson that posted it, I wouldn't have given this a second look, to be honest. LOL. Same. Truly hope this isn't faked. Oh, wait, but this was 9 months ago. What are the updates? We need to know. Someone said, I think this is 100% fake. No, 23 days ago, he admitted it's fake. What the hell?
Fuck you, Coyote Peterson.
Unfortunately, it was a clickbait hoax. He admits in the video he released about it that it was a fictional scenario. Screw you, Coyote Peterson. Why would you do that? Now you just discredit my entire podcast. Thanks a lot.
This series of events is a very common theme when looking for evidence of Bigfoot. You find something, it looks really good, and then about 5 minutes in, you're like, oh shit, it's fake.
Okay, but I have another one. Oh, wait. I think, well, you showed me this too, but I saw
What was it?
this picture
Which one?
in the Olympic National Forest.
Yeah.
It could just be like a guy from behind.
Yeah, there's this guy. I remember growing up, my mom called me into the room. There was on the news, some guy shot a Bigfoot, and I was so stoked because I've been a Bigfoot guy for a while. And it turned out that he had stuffed a Bigfoot suit that he had made out of like taxidermy with deer organs, which is some Hannibal Lecter shit.
The one in Bailey, Colorado in 2017.
Yeah.
Supposedly taken. It's just this photo of just peeping.
It's a little peeping Tom.
Also, like, we would just be, like, taking a bunch of photos? Or what?
This is so disappointing. If I was a billionaire, catch me on freaking Mount St. Helena with all my boys looking for Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
With just, like, an exorbitant, like, in a Mercedes Sprinter van. I'm not fucking camping. Fuck that.
Okay, here's a hypothesis though, and I might sound crazy because I feel like you said that, like what people say that they're like intergalactic.
Oh, please.
What if they just
An
travel?
intergalactic space ape.
What
Get
if
out
they're
of
just
here.
aliens? Really quickly, just want to point out this lawsuit from the San Diego Union Tribune.com. Someone claimed that they ran into a Sasquatch, a Bigfoot. They stated, "We were face to face. He was 30 feet up in the tree," describing the creature as having a barrel chest, a head 3 times the size of a human, weighing 800 pounds. Specific. Standing says that they have enough proof to win the case. Quote, "There's a date set, so we're going in with PhDs, with wilderness experts beyond myself, with wildlife biologists, with fingerprint experts. We're going to prove so beyond a reasonable doubt that this species exists." I don't know whatever happened to
Okay,
that,
I listened to a 45-minute podcast with the guy from the BFRO going over Bigfoot evidence, and every time he went through evidence, like prints or this, he always ends it in the caveat is, this isn't actual scientific evidence.
Like, they could update their website.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Come on, BFRO.
Wasn't this all shown to be fake? Is there any physical evidence?
Just click on the answers.
Short answer, no. But what about the rumors? What about the rumor that one of the people who helped obtain the footage confessed to wearing the costume? There are, in fact, several different stories involving different people who claimed or were suspected to be the man in the costume. Logically, if the stories involve different culprits, then most of those stories must be completely bogus, because not everybody who made the claim of being the guy in the costume was the guy in the costume. Okay, this is just too...
So stupid.
This is just too much for me.
Wait, keep going.
Okay, is there any physical evidence at all? The short answer, yes. There's quite a bit of physical evidence. Tracks, hairs, scat, and tree damage are all, quote, physical evidence. People tend to misuse this phrase when they really mean physical remains.
Yeah, but not scientific evidence. You can't scientifically prove anything, but you have physical evidence?
Interesting.
Scat.
Huh. Okay, whatever. Well, that's the BFRO. Just wanted to also point out that there's a Bigfoot variety, like the skunk ape and the yeti. Just wanted to add that.
Yeah, why not? And if you have sightings, go to the BFR website and you can document it.
Okay.
Smoke for the skunk ape.
And then wanted to briefly mention technology and cryptozoology in general. As kind of mentioned before, the quote about, why isn't there more evidence if our cameras are getting better and there's just more cameras in general, like drone footage or security camera, whatever. But Lauren Coleman, who is the founder of the International Cryptozoology Museum in Portland, Maine, noted there are so many fake videos. The problem has grown worse with social media, where viral hoaxes like drone footage of a supposed Bigfoot in a clearing in Idaho can rack up millions of views. Coleman, for his part, believes that there is evidence for Bigfoot's existence, but he and his like-minded peers find it difficult to focus attention on this material amid the growing number of obvious shams. Technology has ruined the old cryptozoology, Coleman says. That's intense. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of sad, because he's like, I don't want the fake hoax video. Like, they want to research the poo.
They want to smell the poo.
We want to smell the poo.
We want to smell the poo.
Now we're at the discussion of Bigfoot. I'm going to say I'm not convinced that he is real. However, I'm not going to say he's not, because I'm not going to say that about anything. And I like to believe that it would be real.
Every time I think about Bigfoot, I'm like, oh, this makes sense. Like, there could be something in the huge woods. There could be a little population of something hidden. No one knows about it. I mean, I hope he's real. And if I'm a billionaire, we're going hunting. Honestly, if we get 100,000 subscribers,
we'll go hunting for Bigfoot.
We're going to go Bigfoot hunting. We're going to fly out to Washington.
And 10 of you can come if you want.
10? That's a lot.
Fine, 5. Yeah, that's true. They can't outnumber us.
2.
Do we think that the government knows more about Bigfoot than they let us know? Like, do you think they've researched it more than just that one sample? I feel like they have to have.
Probably.
That's the number one cryptid. You don't think that they're into those things?
Dude, there's so many creepypastas on Reddit. It's like, I worked for special operations and we hunted a Bigfoot.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Cauldron Convos. If you liked it, make sure to give it a subscribe. Comment down below what you think about Bigfoot. Like it. And we'll see you guys next week here on Cauldron Convos, baby. Bye.